Fall baking is so much deeper than just pumpkin or pumpkin spice flavors. It is a way to just go a little bit deeper into the meaning of the season and bring that into your kitchen and into your business. I love fall because it really forces me to slow down and look at the colors in nature, look at the produce that's growing, and just think about the flavors, the scents, the the feel of coziness, and just embracing this new change of season. And I think that can translate into your business as well, but you just have to be really intentional about it. So sometimes just taking time to go to an orchid or go to a farm or someplace outdoors to just see what is blossoming and blooming even during the fall months. Because we all know that the household chores will not stop. There will always be things that need to be done, like laundry or cleaning, cooking, all of those things. And that's okay. But as long as we make it a priority to just take time away to get out in nature and just get inspired for our business, for our home, and even just for ourselves, because the fall season has such a unique beauty that is different from any other season because it is just the right amount of crisp air, beautiful colors, and lovely scents that you can only enjoy during the fall months. I'm Andrea, and welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be bringing you along with me as I tackle some household stuff, starting with, for example, this laundry here that I am about to transfer over to the dryer. And of course, I have food to cook, just a little bit behind the scenes of the micro bakery business. Even when bread is not being baked, there is still always something to do. The fall season is also the time of year when I really just get in a cleaning mode. I like to scrub and dust and get things wiped down and ready because I know the holiday season is right around the corner. Here are some more fall flavors we enjoyed this week, as well as the last clippings from my garden, which was so fun this season. Now, when it comes to fall, I also enjoy going to thrift stores because I guess this is the time of year when people are donating stuff and get rid of stuff. And I found this beautiful baking set that is perfect for me, for my kitchen, of course, but also because of me being in culinary art school. We have so many recipes that we have to prep and sort for ingredients that I was really thrilled about that thrift find. Lately, I've been working really hard to nail a cookie recipe that is mostly baked with fresh milk flour, where I have taken the wheat berries, milled the wheat berries, and I'm using either all fresh milk flour or mostly fresh milk flour because I mean, cookies in the fall, they just go hand in hand. So I have been experimenting with different recipes and I haven't quite found like the perfect recipe that I can repeat over and over again and get the same consistent results. So that is something that I am prioritizing this fall, and that is really getting a really good cookie recipe that is made with either mostly or all fresh milled flour. And this is important for your business as well when you take those small pauses or those small just seasons in your business when you are really focusing on a recipe or a baked good that you really, really want to nail. I think sometimes in the micro bakery business, industry, we can be more consumed with just trying to produce so much and so many different items that we don't slow down to really nail and perfect specific items. So like in my case, that's what I am working on for these chocolate chip cookies. Now, it doesn't mean that this is going to become like the primary thing that I sell, but it is something I want to offer, and I want to offer it with the fresh milk flour because that's really important to me, and it just goes along with the type of bread that I offer. So this is just something that I think is worth investing the time and energy into. Baking with fresh meal flour from whole grains is actually one of my favorite ways to bake. And to really take the time during this fall season and slow down and embrace that is just a way to appreciate where food really comes from, because it's easy to just grab a bag of flour off the shelf. And yes, it's faster, it's convenient, but I have learned to appreciate just taking the extra time to mill the flour or do those extra minor detail steps to just put a little bit more love and attention into my baked goods. Now, along with all of the flour milling and baking and all of those lovely fun ingredients, does come extra cleaning that you probably wouldn't normally do if you were not running a micro bakery business from your home. And it's not a bad thing, but it is just something to keep in mind and to know up front as you are going along that crumbs get in the weirdest of places. You will find random chocolate chips, all of those little bobs and bits you will find in your home. So just keep in mind that your home will require a little bit more time and attention to maintain. As you are choosing to prioritize and being more intentional about getting out in nature so that you can be inspired for your home and your business. If you have a family, I know one of the things that probably always stays on your mind is meals, meal planning, meal prepping, because yes, you do want to get out and enjoy all of these fun fall activities and festivals, but let's be honest, that often comes with cost of meals, eating out. Sometimes it's, quality things you do want to eat, sometimes it's not. So, one of the ways that I really work hard to combat that is having food ready in advance so that we are able to go out, maybe enjoy a treat or a snack or dessert or something, but knowing that dinner is ready and prepared already at home. And one of my favorite ways and the easiest ways that I like to do that is preparing a whole chicken or some type of large cut of meat or some type of like a pasta dish or some type of casserole or something in a crock pot, something that's pretty easy to do and something that can cook long and slow so that we can spend time outdoors and come back and everything is just about ready. Now let's talk ways to prevent waste without labels and packaging in our micro bakery businesses. I am planning to do a grocery shopping trip for my house and for the micro bakery business, but I want to show you how I go through my process of going through my labels to make sure I am not allowing labels to go to waste, because believe it or not, I know we talk a lot about not wasting ingredients when it comes to running a micro bakery business, but also labels are like one of those little sneaky little costs that if you don't pay attention to them, they can quickly eat into your profit margins, either if you are spending too much in packaging and labels or if a lot of it is just going to waste. So one of the things I like to do for my business is pre-label my packages. And let me show you what I'm talking about. So right here, these are the bread bags that I use for my bread. And what I used to do is just bake all of the loaves up, and then when it was time to package them, I would get the bags out, get the labels out, and then do all the labeling right before it was time to package the bread. But the problem with that, a couple of things. Number one, oftentimes I didn't have enough labels, so I had to run back to the computer and print labels out. Number two, by the time you get to the labeling part of your production, it's been a long process already, and so you're kind of tired at that point. So I found that I wasn't as just like fresh in my mind, and I'm tired, and I'm just trying to print labels out, and so it just felt more laborious than what it probably was. You just think, oh, no problem, just print out the labels. But when you are ready to slice and package, you just want that to be as smooth as possible. So it felt a little bit more overwhelming, which, like I said, it probably is just because we were at the end of the production process. I didn't have enough labels, or sometimes it would just feel like it was holding the process up because my husband, he helps me slice, and once he's ready to get going, and then it's like, we have to take this pause and, oh, wait a minute, hold on, let me get the labels ready. So it just felt like it was a point in the production process that just needed to be fixed. And the best solution I found for that was to pre-label my packages. Now, with that decision, it comes one more piece of I guess like inventory check or responsibility, if you would, and that is making sure the labels get used, because you go through all of that work to pre-label the packages, and then if you don't use them, then you feel like you have still wasted material. So every so often, what I do is I go through and I pull the drawers here. You see this is a smaller one, and then I also have these larger bins that go into my label. I have like a label storage unit, and I sort all of the labels by the different varieties of bread that I make. So every so often I like to go through and see what's there, and then I will plan out my menu for the upcoming market based on labels that I need to use up. So my first bin, this is my rye and whole wheat bin, and I have some labels here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so I see that I have 5 labels that I want to use up. And I usually bake my loaves in batches of 10, sometimes 11, but for sure 10, and then I will have like some dough left over. So then I can take a little bit of the dough from however many batches I do, and then I'll have extra. But for sure, guaranteed 10 loaves. So I have 5 labels here already made. So I know that I need to get 5 more labels made. I'm going to write this down. 5 labels made. And I'm going to do a batch, BATCH, of whole wheat this week. So 5 labels made for whole wheat. Very easy. I could probably, I guess, like type up some type of document or something, but this is just, I have a notepad that sticks on my dough refrigerator, and I'm just pulled it off, and I'm using the back of that because this is going to go with me to the grocery store, and also once I'm done with that, it's going to sit on my desk, so I'll just know exactly what I'm making this week. So here I have that I need to make 5 labels for whole wheat, and then I need to make a batch of whole wheat this week. So that's on the menu, whole wheat loaves. Next, I'm going to look at my plain, because every week, no matter what, I always have plain, because that's just everybody. You're going to always have a small percentage of people who just want plain. They don't want anything fancy or seeds or fruit. They just want plain. So here I only have, that's not plain. That is a plain sweet yeast loaf. That was something that I offered one time in my neighborhood, but it's not something I offer regularly. So I'm completely out of plain pre-made packages. But I have these plain labels here. These come in 6 in a sheet. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 sheets, and then I have 5. Okay, so 4 sheets, and then I have sheets like this where it's like just a few missing in here. So 5 times 6, so that's 30 labels that are already made, and 30 plus because we still have the extra. Oh wait, this is a plain sweet, so this doesn't go. All right, so I have a little bit, double check, let's count here. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh no, that's the plain sweet yeast. See, this is why it's important to go through this, because I have plain and then I have plain sweet yeast bread. All right, these are all plain sourdough labels. Let me go through this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so 4 of the 4 sheets of the plain sourdough loaf. So 4 times 6, this is 24 labels. 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. So I have 28 plain labels already made. So I'm just going to take note of that. 28 plain labels already made. So I'm going to go ahead and pre-label 28 packages. So that's pre-package 28 bread bags. And I know this week, because I have 28, I am going to do a batch of plain, which, like I said, I do every week. But I know that that's 28 bread bags that I'm going to go through, because I want to use these labels up and not allow them to just sit and get forgotten about. And I'm actually going to discard the plain sweet yeast, because like I said, that was just so one-off. Something that I did was offering the yeast bread. I've had a lot of requests for it, and I wanted to give it a try, and I did, but I don't know. I just like sticking with sourdough. I like being consistent and knowing that's what I offer, and not getting over into the yeast bread. It was good. It was fun, and I tried it, but I think my preference is just to stick with sourdough bread. I just believe in it so much. I believe in the health benefits of it so much that that's just what I want to stick to. Okay, so we got that done. I know I need 28 bread bags, and I'm going to do a batch of plain this week, because like I said, I have these 28 labels here. So I'm just going through, making my list of what I'm going to make. Next, I'm going to go through, this is kind of like my dried fruit bin. I have cinnamon raisin, and then I also have cranberry pecan. Sometimes they change how I pronounce, which way I decide to pronounce it. Okay, in this folder here, I have quite a bit of cranberry pecan, which I didn't even know. That's why it's good to do this. And these labels I actually need to place inside here so that I can have them all together. So just by looking at this, I see I have quite a bit of cranberry pecan labels. And if I look at the packages, I have hold this up here. One, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, I have 8 bags here already made and plenty of labels. So I'm not even going to count through that. So for sure, I will be doing cranberry pecan this weekend. So let me make note of that. Cranberry pecan. And I'm going to make up at least 2 more bags, but I'll just say 5 just to have a few extra. So I'm going to pre-package 5 cranberry pecan bags. So this weekend for the menu, so far I'm going to have whole wheat, plain, and cranberry pecan. And I actually have a special request for cranberry pecan, a special order. A customer who's so sweet, she actually prepaid for a couple of cranberry pecan loaves with lots of extra cranberry and pecans. So that would be a lot of fun to make. All right, so I have this, the cranberry pecan. Let's go through the cinnamon raisin. I have a couple of these bags already made, and let's see how many. For cinnamon raisin, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 cinnamon raisins already made up. So I think I'm going to go ahead and add cinnamon raisin. I'm only going to do 5 loaves this week. I have extra cinnamon raisin labels here, but I'm just going to use the ones that are already pre-packaged because I know I'm going to have a full batch of cranberry pecan, whole wheat, and plain. So let me just add 5 loaves. So for all of my extra labels that are already printed, I'm just going to get some packages pre-made for next time. So this week, we're going to have the 5 loaves of cinnamon raisin. And let's just count and see how many we have. We have 6, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and make a note to make 15 cinnamon raisin bread bags. When you're factoring in your cost of your products, it's not just the ingredients. It is even the packaging, the label, in my case, the twist ties, all of it adds up. All of it has to be accounted for to make sure you are staying profitable and to make sure you're not losing money. You have to consider everything that goes into making that loaf of bread or baked good, whatever it is. I have some maple pecan, some maple pecan labels already made. I have 6. Oh, we're going to take this one out. That was a yeast spread. I have 6, 7, 8 that are printed, and I have 1, 2, just 2 that are already made up. And since most of my batches are made in 10, and I see that I have 5 loaves of the cinnamon raisin, I'm going to go ahead and do 5 loaves of the maple pecan as well. That just adds some variety. And like I said, I want to go through and make sure I'm using up the labels that are made so that we don't have waste. So I'm just making a note that I'm going to do 5 maple pecans. And because I only have 2, I need to make at least 3 more bread bags, but I may go ahead and just pre-make all of these, which will be 8, which is fine. So I'm going to make 8 maple pecan bread bags. And that is going to be my menu for this upcoming weekend. So I just keep all of my dried fruits and nuts in this bin. Oh, well, there is one more label that I want to show you. And this is my, I just call it the bread story. That's what I label here, this drawer. It's called the bread story. And so this is the story that I use to put on the back of my bread packages, because on the front I have all of the required information that's required as a cottage food baker, which is the name of the business. I have my logo that's not required, but it's just something I have. I have my tagline, which every business should probably have some type of, well, no, every business should have some type of tagline or some message that you want to be associated with your business and that you believe in and stand by. In my case, my tagline is, "We care about what goes into your bread." So I like to have that on the labels of all of my packages. And obviously what it is, the ingredients, those are required. In the state of Maryland, as a cottage food baker, you have to have all of the ingredients listed out. And then also I have my cottage food ID number, which you use in the place of your home address, because obviously you don't want to put your home address on your label. And then also you have to highlight if you have any of the 9 major food allergies, which in my case I do. My bread does contain the 2 allergies, wheat and milk. The milk because of the butter. And then we have to include this statement here that this is made by a cottage food bakery, not subject to Maryland food safety regulations. So all of this information is required to be, well, almost all of it. There are some extra things I added. This information is required to be on this label, but on the back, I like to have my bread story. So it's just a little bit more personal. I try to communicate kind of, my why for doing this, my mission. It just kind of encompasses all of that in this bread story. And then I also have my website and my Instagram handle on here, so people know how to quickly reach out to me if they need to, which they often do, which is really sweet. So with that, I have these bread labels that I also always have to make sure I have enough of before it's time to package the bread, because going to the computer and, it's not a big process, but like I said, once you get to the end of your production, just taking one more step to do anything, it just kind of feels overwhelming at that point. So if I look at the bread stories I have here, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So I only have 14 of these bread stories ready, which means I need to purchase more labels to get more bread stories printed up. So I know for sure I'm going to have 10, 20, 30, 40 loaves here, and I just forgot how many I said I have here, but I know that I need to make sure I have 40 of these labels printed up. So what I like to do, I found the best cost effective way to do this, because I purchased these from Target, because it's just, I can walk in and I know that they're there. I'm sure there are cheaper labels. I know a lot of people use the thermal printers. I just have not made that a priority so far. Maybe next year that's something that I can prioritize. Right now I'm just getting the Avery labels, you see right there, and I just purchased them out of the store. But there is a particular Walmart, not all of them, but I did find one that is not too far from me, where I can purchase is it a 600 pack? I think it's a 600 count for around $30. So that's what I'm going to do today, because I need quite a bit. In the smaller packs that I just get from Target, if I just need like a few labels, it's I forgot the count, but it's around $6, but it's a much smaller count. And I just want to go ahead and get a nice stash because I've kind of already gotten a sense of that I'm kind of running low on labels here. So that is going to be added to my grocery list for today. Now that I have the labels all organized, I know exactly how many I need for this weekend. I'm going to do an ingredient overview, look through all of my ingredients, make sure I have enough for the flavors of bread that I'm actually going to be making this week. And that's how we do it, because it's easy to get in the store and just think of, you see things and you can just like grab it and think, oh, this would be great for my business, or this would be great. And I'm sure we all have those moments where we're just, kind of, free willing, just picking up stuff, and that's fine. But I really, as much as I can, I like to be really intentional on what I'm purchasing just to avoid waste, because when we are doing home-based businesses, the objective is that they are to be able to benefit our home. And like I said, you will be surprised that just not having a good inventory system, or not going through your ingredients or your labels, or just being mindful of what you are purchasing, you can wind up just wasting a lot of materials, and in turns that actually causes you to lose money. Even if you want to update your labels, that's totally fine, but I would still recommend going through what you already have first before you just say, oh, I don't want to use those anymore, I want to use the new labels. Do yourself a favor, do your business a favor, do your family a favor, because when you are saving those little small amounts of money in your business, it does add up. Use what you make, use what you pre-package as far as your packaging and labels. And yeah, it's just a small way to steward one little area in your business. Well, this is my list here. So I have to get ready to head out to the store, and I just want to thank you for taking time to hang out with me today, as I just showed you some bits and pieces of just some of the fall days that's going on here in my home and the micro bakery business. And I encourage you to enjoy this fall season in your business and your home as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.